Swiggity sorty, let's get that booty.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Slim Cogcast, and it is I, Slim Cognito, letting you know that this past week, I watched half of The Suicide Squad. I'm not gonna spoil nothing, I can't wait to finish it. I literally just started watching it was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? And it's been a pretty busy week for me. We had a bit of a hitch in production this past week. There was no video version of the podcast this past Monday because literally that same day there was a medical emergency involving my mother, and as of now she is recovering just fine and will be home momentarily. So let's just hope, but for now she's in the best care that we could find. Another thing is we still have been trying our best. There was a big gap in what we could and could not do this past week, but we still got right back into the groove, and we streamed some more of the second game in Metroid month on the Twitch channel, which is Metroid Samus Returns for the 3DS. Immediately after, we will go into another Metroid 2 remake, the fan-made remake of the game, which honestly and truthfully is an entirely different game and worth playing. So, and also worth watching as well. I would highly recommend you either play it yourself or tune in. And with all that being said, let's get into what we've been playing this week. Now, we're still working on Control, but I haven't had the energy nor the time to get back into it because not only have I been doing those things that I've already mentioned, I've also had some gigs to go and perform at in my videographer, cinematography, and photography area of life, I guess you could say. And yeah, that's what's been going on. And while there's more work to be done behind the scenes afterward, like editing and things like that, we're still going to bring content to you all, starting with this here Monday podcast. So another thing I did pick up just to try out was Trauma Center on the 3DS. Well, the original DS Trauma Center, the first one. And I gotta honestly tell you, like, if you don't have a stylus, even if you had a stylus, I'm pretty sure that it'd be buns. I hate Trauma Center. I don't like the design. It was fine up until there was a point where they wanted me to help get some type of waste blockage out of this guy's veins, and they want me to use one tool to reveal it, then another to pinch it, then another to cut the vein open, and then use another tool to suck it out of the vein, then close the hole, start all over again. And it's like several branching veins, like 4 different branching veins, bringing all these things together at one point. And if too much of the waste gets into the bloodstream, the victim goes into, I guess, a catatonic state. I'm not sure, and I'm trying my best to do this, but I can't. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know where I'm messing up, and I frankly don't want to because it's poorly designed. It's asking for too much for a small procedure that does not reward much. It's not making me more skilled or anything. It's just arbitrary, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm not a fan. But other than that, though, it has a neat presentation, a very interesting art style, very warped and surreal, like, I guess you could say anime art style. It feels like the art from it was a Sega Genesis classic, and then there was a beat 'em up on the Game Boy Advance. I think it was like Starlight Heroes or something like that. I can't remember, but it was like a shooter, running gun type of shooter arcade title, one of the Sega classics. And the character designs are reminiscent of that, especially given the head shapes. The shapes of the head is what gives it away. Now, the other thing that I have been playing and getting into this week is the game that I've been telling you on stream, which was Samus Returns. One of the things that I've forgotten about is that it can be kind of aimless, and at the early game, like once you get past the first quarter to first third of the game, that's when everything gets interesting and the Metroid fights get more difficult and way more fun. And I forgot about that part. And the earlier parts are not that enjoyable, to be honest. They're kind of slow compared to the rest of the game, but to give them credit, it really makes up for it in the middle. The early, middle, and latter half of the game makes up for it in spades. One of the things I have noticed as well is the area scan, the area scan ability, the first Aeon ability that you acquire. It's kind of not that justified outside of Collectathon, but they did somewhat justify it to help you find out how to get to certain rooms to kill certain Metroids. Because I found that finding some of them, especially in Area 2 and Area 3, like the last Metroids that you're looking for, can be so encumbersome to find and very difficult to get a hold of and track down. But I guess it justifies the use, and I said all that to say that most likely they designed the map that way in order to justify the use of this ability. So yeah, and all of that to say, I don't hate it as much as I used to in the first go round. So it's neat, it's nice, it's convenient for those who don't like Collectathon and those who aren't used to the Metroid formula. So yeah, have at it. It's not that bad. And yeah, with all that being said, I guess it's time to jump into the news, because that's all I've been playing, and I haven't been watching much because, like I said, we've been busy. And I was actually planning to pick up a lot of new shows too. But I guess we'll pick up on, of course, Rick and Morty's gotta catch up on our My Hero Academia and finish Suicide Squad. So there's more to come. Now, first thing on the docket this week is over on PCGamesIn.com. Back4Blood beta beats Warframe and TF2's player count in its first few days. Another game. See, this is something else I'm scatterbrained. I totally played the Back4Blood beta this week, and it's actually amazing. It actually came at the perfect time because, you know, kept my mind off of certain things. And boy, I gotta tell y'all, this game is way different from its alpha. When I played the alpha, and it was rough around the edges, the frame rate wasn't great. Some things just had a terrible balance to them, and all in all, it lacked a lot of like polish and interest. Like it felt a little uninspired. But for some reason, now in the beta that they've changed the UI to be much better. They've added a hub world. They've given, you know, more options with cards. You have better decks that you can customize, way more thought-provoking, and just good overall. I feel like the health card is like not that great though, unless you like stack it. But even then, an extra 10 health ain't gonna do shit, to be honest with you. The way you lose health in this game, 10 ain't nothing, and it's kind of a waste of a card slot, to be honest with you. So many better cards out there. So I guess that just comes with the territory of having like tiers of rarity or effectiveness between cards. With that being said, you would have to expect that there will be plenty of players that the gap between player skill and knowledge will be exacerbated by their card deck. So we'll have to see what happens with that down the line though. Hopefully they can manage it. But I gotta say, the gunplay feels a lot better. It's not all, you know, it's not all stifled to make you feel like it's something that needs to be upgraded. It was one of those implementations that where originally in the alpha it felt like if you didn't have certain attachments, your gun and your gunplay was just bad by default. And I'm glad they adjusted that to be a lot better, bro. Just to be a lot better, for lack of a better word. All right, they just improved upon it. Now, the thing about the beta is that it got a lot of viewers. A lot of people were streaming it. A lot of people got into playing it. I saw people playing Back4Blood that I could not even, I couldn't like choke them to death to make them play fucking Left 4 Dead, but for like months at a time. So it's like, it must be something about this game that's great. So yeah, I can't wait. Actually, it's actually got me a little hyped. One of the things that I was skeptical about is how few maps were supposed to be released and how few game modes were supposed to be on release. Whereas they already confirmed, and we'll talk about that article later, about the campaign PvP. But as of right now, it is blowing up and it's on a lot of people's radar, I assume. And I'm sure they got a lot of pre-orders thanks to this beta. And we will see what happens down the line. But yeah, it's been blowing out the numbers of TF2, Warframe, and many other games at the time. So maybe people are starved for a new shooter. Who knows? I know the Apex crowd is more than satisfied, which, by the way, I've also taken a peek into the Season 10 of Apex Legends. I forgot to mention Seer. Boy, Seer, I love the design. I love the look of the character. I love everything about Seer, and he's pretty fun. If you put him on a team with a Bloodhound, a Seer Bloodhound and Octane team is amazing. That is amazing. Just imagine. All you gotta do is Recon is such a powerful game. See, this is what Respawn has done effectively, and you heard it here first because nobody else has noticed this. I haven't heard any of the pro players talk about it, any of the top streamers talk about it, nothing. But here's what Seer has done to the game and what Respawn has done as a whole. The Prowler is now ground loot, and it is a normal weapon now. You have the alternator with the old hop up as a legendary now. You have all of these changes with the balances and these weapons, bringing back these what people call OP weapons. But what happened is Respawn sees that a lot of people in Apex baseline are attracted to it because of the amount of skill that's required to be good at the game. Therefore, it doesn't have a casual audience like, say, Overwatch, where Overwatch was majority casual and few hardcore and competitive. So once they started to appeal to their competitive audience, they lost a lot of their casual audiences because they don't like to lose. And that's understandable because, you know, tryhards can ruin a game if you just want to have fun. But in the name of Apex, which is a battle royale and it's about survival, is there really room for just having fun, or are you trying to be number one? Because I figure that's the whole premise of a battle royale, is to try to be the best out of everyone. It's not like you're going to just meet up with another team and just start, you know, spamming crouch and having a good old grand time and tea and crumpets under Gibraltar's shield bubble. Like, that's for YouTube content. But that's never happened but like what? Less than one handful of times in all my days of playing Apex, and I've been playing it since it was released. So yeah, I'd say nah, that don't make too much sense. It would make more sense that they would appeal to their competitive crowd, and they've done so perfectly. Bro, Recon is so powerful with Bloodhound that it tells you how you should push, when you should push, and from what angle. It helps you so much. Just knowing that little bit, just knowing if a person has potential to peek left or peek right, tells you how you can flank or where you could approach from. It's all about information. Information is the most key thing in all warfare. Okay, anybody will tell you that. So, Seer being able to detect people through walls as well as display their remaining health and shields is the most valuable information out here. But because his detection takes a little more skill and happenstance to land, depending on the situation, he's not more valuable than Bloodhound, but he is very useful in tandem with him. Think about it. A Bloodhound scan, and as soon as you see your targets, hit them with the Q from Seer. Boom. We have visibility on these two people for a much longer period, and we know if they're pushable or not based on their health and shields. That information tells you everything you need to know. As well as you can use it as a deterrent, because one or two things will happen if you reveal people with his micro drones. And those two things are, they will retreat out of fear of being seen, or they will push in order to force the fight immediately. Seer's inclusion of his abilities and him just being there, along with these new weapons and the updates that they've done and balances of the rebalancing of the weapons, made this game far more aggressive. Meaning, one of the solutions of being third-partied is that you sit around and you have a fight for way too long, and the noise from the fight attracts someone else, and then you get third, fourth, fifth squatted, and that's how people hunt down kills. You go directly toward the mayhem and kill and clean up because they're half healed from a fight they just got done failing and finishing. This is something you cannot stop. But if you made everybody more aggressive and increased the TTK by a smidgen, then people are forced to be more decisive and less turtling. Pushing things away from the Gibraltar meta of turtling under and using his abilities and his ult in order to do what he can to either deter people from pushing or to zone one out from their positioning. And that's amazing to me. I hate the Gibraltar tomato. I hate having to shoot down a Gibraltar and a caustic. They're fucking fat, takes too long, makes no sense. And if they have a gun with good DPS, you're gonna lose the 1v1 if you did not get the first few shots on. So yeah, I'm all for it. I don't mind it. But that being said, now the fat boys are gonna have to go back into a low pick rate simply because of this. But let's see what happens. They've been on top for a long time. I mean, Gibraltar's been like a high pick and high season play for who knows how long. So I'm all for it. Anyway, that's enough about Apex Season 10. Go ahead and check it out. I've been grinding the ranked arenas like crazy. I went from bronze to which silver one, about to hit gold. And I think I've only sat down for about 4 sessions. So yeah, makes about sense. And I guess we'll try to hit plat and others before the week is out, you know. So let's see what happens. I might even get higher than it'll depend. I might get higher than my usual ranking trios. So we'll just have to see. Anywho, there's been a lot of clips about Back4Blood going around on Twitter where it's going viral, showing the sound. It's a voice line from one of the zombies where it goes and then a good right together, and once it's said together, it sounds like it's screaming nigga, but it's literally not using such. But WB Games is trying their best to tell everybody it is not saying the N-word. They might edit it or whatever, or replace it altogether. But for the time being, it's actually hilarious. If you see the clips, go ahead and check it out. Dahama at HOMBKE on Twitter posted the original, and then Doto, that's DOTODOYA over on Twitter, had another clip right behind it that was very similar, not too far behind from each other. So yeah, it's actually hilarious to me, to be honest. So yeah, another thing about Back4Blood, last thing I wanted to report, next thing on the docket, is that it will not include the versus campaign mode at launch, and fans are not happy about it, according to GameDebate.com. Of course, for those who know Left 4 Dead, there are campaign modes that you can play online, not only with co-oping with people, but also the co-op teammates that you can play with can play against people who control zombies in order to try to stop people from progressing. So you could fight against someone else who is controlling a zombie and do your best to try to overcome the horde, which is a pretty interesting and fun game mode. If you haven't tried it out, go ahead and get you a copy of Left 4 Dead 2 now, because apparently Back4Blood won't have it for some time. But it's actually pretty dope. And I feel like this game's coming together pretty well. It's looking good, but it also seems to be their producers and marketers are like putting a boot on the back of their neck to get them to finish, so they can't really do everything that they want. But hopefully this game has a place in the co-op world, because we're starving for some co-op content. You can tell simply by the numbers that blew this game up when the beta was released. So yeah, I think that it'll be fine. They're mad, but when it eventually gets here, maybe they'll enjoy it. Who knows? But let's just hope that it works out the best for them. Next, over on the docket, PCGamer.com, new report reveals more of the frat boy culture and abuses at Activision Blizzard. I've combed through this entire article, and to be honest with you, bro, it's just more stuff about how the developers were, I guess you could say hazing, so to speak. I haven't seen anything directly like out of as asinine as the other claims and accusations beforehand. But the only thing we've been seeing happen in the Blizzard this past week were people constantly leaving the company, HR executives and representatives leaving, etc. So maybe it is a fire that's going down or what, who knows. It's a shame to see such happen to such a company that was built so big over the years for what people love, but it was just a company at the end of the day, and all they cared about was our gamer bucks at the end of the day. It's sad to see. But more on the topic though is that Here's one of the quotes. Not only could they tell you how to do your job, but they had so much power they could do whatever they want in line of sight with other powerful friends. That implies a lot, and it feels kind of dangerous to rest on that quotation because it doesn't tell us anything in detail. I've had jobs, they've all sucked, right? My past jobs. And to be honest with you, the way these past jobs work, I would rather be more informed on how exactly this thing went down in detail, because honestly I've never had to do HR in particular, but human resources will most likely ask you to explain rather than just say such thing that's that vague, because you could be misinterpreting things. But I wouldn't put that on the table right now given all the other things that we've heard. So they already look terrible with all the things that they posted. Oh my god, the things that have been on Twitter from people in very powerful positions at Blizzard in these past few evers, it hadn't been great. So I'm not trying to make no excuses for them either. But anyway, next quote. Because there were so few women, the women really had to compete to stand out to their peers. Another former employee said it created a really toxic competitive environment, not just between the men and women at Blizzard, but the women themselves. This right here, I can't really go off of that. So I just want to leave that there, because I mean, competitive nature happens on the job, especially when people feel that their job is threatened, and or one person starts doing their job right and everyone else just moves along lackadaisical. It can easily seem like things become competitive, because those in power that want everyone else to actually do their work to the same degree than the one that's busting hump, they would often reward those who are going above and beyond. And it becomes competitive when those who aren't doing their job as well become jealous of others. You know what I mean? So I said that not to say that this is what's going on, but to show another plausible situation, and how this could easily just be a negative prefix upon, a situation. I can't confirm nor deny what's going on, but I don't see enough here to really just confirm, okay, this is great. But one thing I can confirm is that it seems like this whole place is run by bad management. So that type of sociopathic behavior and manipulating the people that work with you and sign on to work for your company never works out. I've never seen it work out, and I don't think it ever will. Even in a home, you cannot use people's jealousy and envy to motivate them to work. It does not work well, and it makes narcissistic and or let's say masochistic people, because you want them to be rewarded with more work, and that's not it, fam. Anyway, rockpapershotgun.com next on the docket. Talk about Google contemplating buying some or all of Epic to stop contagion, quote unquote. Court documents say, of course, this must have come up during the whole trial of Epic versus Apple, and basically just revealed that Google was looking to buy Epic, at least partially or completely, in order to keep them from threatening their market, which is their Google Play Store, and the way they offer games, and the 30% the 30% cut that they would have to take from all microtransactions within the game that is hosted on the Play Store. And likely Fortnite is one of their biggest draws, especially when it comes into making money, and I'm pretty sure Google would not like to harm such a thing, but at the same time they didn't want that Fortnite start some new wave and shake things up so much that game developers can just host their own game download links and or websites for people to play games on these respective phones of Android and Apple. So you can't blame them. It's part of business, trying to prevent others from getting into a space that would harm their earnings, I guess you could say. Now, some may disagree and say, no, that's actually bullshit and everybody should get the right and blah, 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 blah. And I understand, everybody should get their chance. I understand the liberal take. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I actually do agree. The thing is, it's not news that people in business would do what they can to prevent others from affecting their income. If you owned a beautician store and there was a store that opened up right next to you that just sold, you know, wigs through Amazon, and you just order them in and they're cheaper, etc., you would, and you had the power to keep them from, you know, doing so. Or if you can buy out their business and just rent the building next to it and expand your own building, then yeah, you would. Because if they have cheaper options and a wider range of options through Amazon store, why would they come to you? While you're buying your inventory, you're getting it all in, it's right there in front of them. Like, it's common sense. So yeah. Anywho, enough about economic survival, I guess you could call it. Over on comicbook.com, SplitGate, it's so popular that wait times to play are lasting over an hour. SplitGate has released free-to-play shooter that's like a combination of Halo meets Portal by 1047 Games. I played it while it was in beta. It's pretty neat, very easy. The weapons are familiar and accessible. The Portal feature, although being very useful if you master it, I didn't exactly master it. I played it for about 2 days, and I find it interesting enough. It's all right, you know, for what it is, and I guess people actually like it. So, and the free-to-play part, you know, can't turn it down. So it's so popular and people are going so crazy for it that they just having trouble trying to find a way to accommodate all these new players that are wanting to play. And they had to release a statement on TikTok officially and make a video to explain why they can't just add more servers to make the game more accessible to more people at once. So yeah, the popularity is great, and I guess we'll just have to see. And I'm happy for them. That's one of the best feelings for someone small, AA or indie, to pop up with little to no funding and, you know, have a sleeper hit like that. It doesn't happen all the time, and this is a flash in the pan that we are more than welcome to see, and I'm happy for them. Can't wait to see more, maybe some tweaks and balances I may re-download and try it again in the future. And with all that being said, thank you for stopping by to the podcast. Go ahead and check out the Twitch stream. We're still doing Metroid month. All August is Metroid month, meaning that right after we get done with another Metroid 2 remake, we're going into the best Metroid, which is Super Metroid. So be ready for that as well, because I've already shown y'all a bit of crazy skill and some sequence breaking a little bit, but it's gonna be a lot more fun when we get to Super. All right, so can't wait. That being said, always remember the channel motto: intentions are the most important, actions ain't loud, nothing. Blah, 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 blah. I messed up my own channel motto. I've said this thing 1,000 times, yo. I've said this 100,000 times. So I'm finna run back and tell y'all about my socials, and then we're gonna try it again. Here we go, one more time. Now, check out the Twitter at Slim Cognito Mode, and go ahead and look at the rest of the content over on the Twitch channel. I will be doing my best to try to find time to upload the playthroughs of all the Metroid games on YouTube, to try to archive some of these playthroughs on Twitch, and I hope y'all enjoy them. So let's try it again. Always remember the channel motto: intentions are the most important, actions ain't nothing but loud, and words don't mean a damn thing. Y'all take care of yourselves, alright, and peace. Too slim for that? Oh no. God damn. I knew it was that one right there. Hold on. See my problem? Whew.